All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of Sunbury Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. It's September 22nd, 2025, 6:30 p.m. Would you please join me in a moment of silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance? Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor St. John.
Here.
Mrs. Miller. Here. Mr. Grumney.
Here.
Mrs. Crawford. Here. Mr. Soderman.
Here.
Mr. Long.
Here.
6 present. We have quorum.
All right. First two items on the agenda tonight are public hearings. One is related to the amendment at Meadows at Sunbury Apartments. The second one is related to a rezoning of a parcel for SA Group LLC. After we close out the public hearings, there are 4 total issues, 2 of which are related to the public hearings that the commission will hear this evening. But we are going to open it up with the first public hearing. An amendment to Meadows at Sunbury Apartments. The applicant is requesting an amendment to a previously approved development plan, specifically looking to changes to the southwest screening. The anticipated process is the applicant presentation, staff report, public comment, and then the commission comments and questions, and then we'll go ahead and close it out. With that said, I would like to hand it over to Mr. Whitney to lay out some of the foundational principles that will follow in the public hearing. Mr. Whitney?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. My name is Vic Whitney. I'm legal counsel to the Planning and Zoning Commission. As the Mayor indicated, the first item on the agenda tonight is this public hearing on the zoning amendment applied for by Meadows at Sunbury Apartments. As you can tell, this is a public hearing and we have a stenographer here who's taking down everything that's being said. So in a moment, when I turn it back over to the Mayor, he's going to call in turn persons, the applicants and others to provide testimony or comment on this application. If you are a member of the public and you would wish to provide comment on this application in any way, in a moment, we're going to have you stand up and be sworn in by the stenographer. Again, the Mayor will call persons in turn up to the lectern. If he does call you up to the lectern and you're offering comment, please, as you can see, there's a microphone there. As soon as you arrive at the lectern, please state your name and your address clearly into the microphone so that the stenographer can get it down and we know who you are and who's providing the comment. And then if we do need to get a hold of you after this hearing's over, we'll have your address. The commission may or may not ask you questions. If they do, again, we have a stenographer here. She's taking down everything that's being said. So please allow them to ask the question before you respond to it, and then respond once they stop with the question. And that way, 2 people aren't speaking at the same time, because it's really difficult for her to take down dictation on 2 people speaking at once. So with that said, anyone who believes that they may wish to offer any comments on this first hearing, the amendment Meadows at Sunbury Apartments, we'll have you stand and raise your right hand to be sworn in. If you do stand and get sworn in, that doesn't mean you have to give comment, but in order to give comment, you must be sworn in. So if you think there's any chance that you might want to offer comment on this first public hearing, please at this time stand and raise your right hand and the stenographer will swear you in.
Swear or affirm that the testimony you'll present will be the truth and whole truth and nothing but the truth.
I do. And Mr. Mayor, prior to turning it back over to you, I would like to move to admit 3 exhibits into the record. As Exhibit A, I have a 5-page document, which is the notice of the public hearing and the proof of mailing to the affected landowners, property owners. So that's Exhibit A, which is a 5-page document. Exhibit B is a 2-page document and is the plans that were submitted by the applicant detailing the scope of what the amendment requested is. And then Exhibit C is a 5-page document, which is the staff report prepared and submitted to the Planning and Zoning Commission. So with that, I would move to admit into the record Exhibits A, B, and C.
Accept. Thank you. All right, I'm going to go right to the staff report. All right, Alex.
Thank you, Mayor. So the applicant is wanting to amend the original Sunbury Commerce Park Development Plan, now Meadows at Sunbury Apartments Plan, to remove an 8-foot fence on the south western border of the property, separating it between the retreat at Sunbury just to the south. The original submittal that they had included an 8-foot fence on a 4-foot mound, which was based on the sightline from the back patios of the retreat homes, looking up to the balcony level of the apartments that are going in. Based on that, I know there was, at the initial public hearings, there was conversation about it. I rewatched them. Nothing specific was addressed during those meetings in terms of solutions. It was brought up there was a need for a screening solution, but no recommendations within the meeting. The 8-foot fence on a 4-foot mound came out of a recommendation from our engineer based on sightline. Reviewing the plan that they submitted now, it is compliant with our zoning code, which says you either need a 6-foot fence or higher, or you can substitute it for 6-foot evergreen trees going across the way. Dense evergreen shrubs even is listed in here. So based on that, I would recommend for approval, just as they are still fitting our zoning code. Well, any questions on that?
No questions at this time. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're opening up the public comment. Is there anybody that wishes to speak with the Planning and Zoning Commission? I'm sworn in. Come on up, sir. Please state your name, your address, and we'll limit it to 3 minutes if staff can help track that, please.
Yeah, my name is Bill Trowbridge. I live at 2442 Common Bend. My property is adjacent to the site, the pole hill and everything that they put in for screening and so forth. I did have an opportunity to review some of the thoughts around the plan, was to raise the mound a little higher. I did agree with the fencing, that an 8-foot fence would probably be difficult to maintain over the years, due to the fact that every time we have storms, the winds are pretty horrible, and I would be concerned that the fence would make it over long term. So after reviewing it, I'd like to express my conditional support for the removal of the fence, provided that the alternative screening materials are effective, blocking the light and as best as possible the noise created from the traffic entering and exiting the new complex. Our property, there's the back side of the street side apartments. There's a road there with some garages and whatnot, and that comes right directly into my property, my porch, and the lights from there. But just the construction comes into my house quite often. So if they make the current, it's essential that any adjustments to the screening are made immediately. So if it proves ineffective, the screening they put up the first time around, that they'll come back and adjust it. And it's maintained over time. If there's dead or damaged trees or plants that need to be replaced, that's done promptly. And that the city of Sunbury actively supports and enforces these maintenance standards in the months and years following the amendment. I want to be clear that my support is based on a commitment to long-term upkeep. I'm currently dealing with unresolved issues involving the Pulte developer and the HOA in my neighborhood, where damaged or removed trees have not been replaced, despite repeated promises over several years. And I don't want to see this happening or this pattern repeated with the new complex. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trowbridge. Is there anyone else that would like to speak with the Planning and Zoning Commission? Come on up, sir. State your name and address in 3 minutes, please.
Hi, my name is Larry Mead. I'm at 2432 Common Bent Drive. I'm a neighbor of Bill's. My property directly backs up to the apartment complex. And when we have initially did the discussion about what type of screening to put in, I voted for the fence and the 8-foot fence because as you sit on my patio, even though my home's a little bit elevated, as you sit on my patio, I'm 30, 40 yards from the building itself. And then you've got the road that runs along that screening area. So as the cars pull in, just the other night, I had a truck pull in and I'm sitting in my family room and I could directly see the lights come right in inside my room. On the other side of our home is our bedroom. So we have that issue as well. So our biggest concern was the lighting intruding into our rooms, as well as our patio. We want to enjoy our patio. So I do agree with Bill, if there's going to be an adjustment made, it's got to be screening has to be where there is no lighting that from cars traveling through, coming through to our patio, to our home. And the same thing, they did raise the mound, I think, a little bit, but I don't know, 6-foot fence. I'm 64 years old. I don't have 20 years to wait for shrubberies to grow. So I would recommend that we start out with fairly large shrubs, trees, bushes, whatever it takes. I actually cleared all the property behind me because Pulte didn't clear it, knowing that a fence and shrubbery and things were coming. So now I'm wide open. So that was my concern initially by putting an 8-foot fence in. So that would at least keep the lighting from intruding into my home and my patio, so we can at least enjoy it. That's why we moved to Sunbury from another area. Also, I wasn't aware that they put a pickleball court in, which is to the left of my backyard. So you've got noise there and cars coming and people coming in to play that and so on and so forth. So something I would like to, again, have something done with that screening or massive screening. And as Bill said, it's got to be to where we're okay with that so that we can feel comfortable living in our homes.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions?
Not this time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak with the Planning and Zoning Commission regarding this issue? Come on, sir. Name, address, 3 minutes, please.
John McCown, and I live at 2392 Common Bent Drive. I also am probably one of the closest properties to the complex, and I've already had lights coming in my house, and the noise and, you know, the construction has been construction. And I would like to see a fence or something that would definitely keep the lights and the noise away from our house. We all live in the back of our houses, and that's where we spend, you know, most of our time. Even, you know, we sleep in the back of our house. So it's really important to me to make sure that we, you know, get this done. We were promised this. I was in the meeting with Gary Smith, the developer, at Bill's house. And he promised this all to us. I still have the emails. I still have all the plans, all the pictures that he sent. And I think we deserve that.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak with the Planning and Zoning Commission? Come on, man.
My name is Marjorie Zelliger, and I too live on Common Bent. I would like to see that fence come up because my bedroom is right between the two sets of garages where they come around. Those lights shine directly into my bedroom. I do not have any kind of coverage. I never had any. The only trees that were there were when the on the developer side, and when they came in, they removed everything. I have a couple pictures on my phone if you'd like to see them of the actual house and that if you'd care to view them.
If you'd like to share them with our staff after you're done speaking, and then they can circulate them to us.
Other than the fact that when I did put in a patio, I had asked to also set up some kind of privacy on that line. I was not granted that part of the permit. So in essence, you owe me something here. You took away my ability to give me some privacy. And I'll be more than happy to show you this.
Thank
That's
you.
all I have to say.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak with the Planning and Zoning Commission? Any comments, questions from the commission to staff at this point?
Yeah, I'm a little unclear. I've read this a couple of times. So the original plan, approved plan, was an 8-foot fence on a 4-foot mound.
That's correct.
And they're proposing a 6-foot fence on a 4-foot mound?
No, so they
No fence.
no fence on the 4-foot mound. So the 6-foot
Let's put a 6-foot fence in here still.
yeah, so the 6-foot fence was the original plan that was brought into the commission going for the original approval. After conversation with the neighbors to the south, that turned it into an 8-foot fence on a 4-foot mound. And now they're proposing no 8-foot fence and 6-foot tall evergreens on a 4-foot mound. So the image of the 6-foot fence with the trees was just to provide visual of the tree, how the fence and trees would look. But the initial was 6 foot fence. I don't think there was a mound. I could be wrong on that. And then it was currently the approved is an 8 foot fence on a 4 foot mound. This amendment would make it no fence, 6 foot evergreen trees only on that 4 foot mound.
Okay. 4 of our homeowners just, did I hear clearly that all 4 homeowners desire a fence? Did I hear that? Did all 4 of you say yes to a fence? Okay, I just want to make sure I heard clearly.
Originally, yes. Today, as long as they screen it and raise the mound, what we discussed, which wasn't brought up here, to raise the mound higher without the fence and add the 6 foot, to 8 foot trees on them, as Larry mentioned, the higher, bigger trees, then, and it's screened appropriately, I would be okay without the fence.
Okay, give me the numbers real quick, please.
This is public hearing, so if we're gonna ask questions of residents, please call them back up. They're gonna need to reintroduce themselves. Because we have a.
I apologize for doing that out of turn. I just want to make sure that it was clear what I'm hearing. Your requests are, because you're saying a lot of important things here, because this is your backyard, this is your privacy, this is your home. So if one of you would, if you would, Bill, would you mind stating, I just want to make sure I saw 3 hands for yes to the fence. You said something different. What height of mound and what height of shrubbery was your suggestion or request?
So my request was to raise the mound to another 3 foot, so we'll say 7 foot, that's 4 foot, raise the mound to 7 foot and add the taller trees on it. I'm speaking obviously for my property. You know, Larry and I have talked about it, and I know that there's some other residents down on the backside of the property that I also understand their concerns, but my concern with the fence was that it's very windy through there when we have storms. And I would be concerned with the upkeep of the fence. So that's part of my issue, but as long as they screened it well with the appropriate trees and shrubs, and it cuts the light and as much noise as they can, then I would be okay without the fence.
Okay, I appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
Any other discussion from the Planning and Zoning Commission? Again, this is an issue that is on our agenda. It's item number 2. Any questions, comments? All right, I'll go ahead and move to close the public hearing. All right, next item on the agenda is a public hearing related to the rezoning of parcel number 417-131-01007-004 SA Group LLC. The applicant is requesting the rezoning of parcel number 417-131-007-004 from not zoned to commercial district C2. And I'm going to hand it to the Mr. Vic Whitney to lay out the formalities of the public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, very similarly as to the previous public hearing we just had, this public hearing, as the mayor indicated, is on the rezoning application filed by the SA Group LLC. Similarly, we're in a public hearing. Obviously, the stenographer is still taking everything down. So once again, in a moment, anyone who wants to offer comment onto this rezoning application will have you stand up and be sworn in. Same thing when the mayor directs you to come to the lectern. Please state your name and your address into the lectern. Don't speak over the commission if they ask questions, and provide your comment clearly and audibly and loudly so that the stenographer can take everything down. So with that said, anyone who thinks they may wish to offer any comment on the rezoning filed by SA Group LLC, please stand and raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you'll present will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do. And Mayor, we do have 3 exhibits on this application as well. I've marked as Exhibit A, a 5-page document, which is the application filed by the applicant, along with a location map that was submitted and a preliminary site plan that was submitted. That's a 5-page document marked as Exhibit A. Exhibit B is the notice of the public hearing and the proof of mailings to the affected property owners. That's a 4-page document, Exhibit B. And Exhibit C is a 3-page document, which is the staff report submitted to the Planning and Zoning Commission. So with that, I will move to admit the exhibits into the record.
Accept. Thank you. All right, first item on the agenda for the public hearing, excuse me, we swore people in, we're good to go. correct? Yeah. Okay, all right, the applicant presentation, sir? You mind, stating your name, your address, and giving an overview of why you wish to rezone, this particular parcel?
Sure. My name is Todd Hutchinson. Address is 1320 Sumner Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio, 44115. So I represent the client who has purchased the property, which is Foundations Health, which is a Ohio-based company that operates nursing homes around the state. They currently operate 70 nursing homes, totally Ohio-based, only operate in Ohio. They're very interested in bringing their services to Sunbury. They've been very successful around the state. They are not a nursing home that buys and sells and, you know, builds and then sells it to an out-of-state investor. They hold on to their properties. And I've been working with them for approximately 10 years, so I have a pretty good track record knowing what they do. The reason that we're asking for the rezoning is the parcel is currently not zoned. So in order to do anything, we have to have it zoned. And the way we approached this was if we can't get the parcel rezoned, then we won't take it to the next level and spend the money to develop final site plans, to develop, you know, everything that would be needed for a formal site plan approval. The properties around this site are all already zoned either C2 or industrial. So we're not butting up against any residential, so there shouldn't be any concern there. We do understand that there's an extension coming off the freeway that's planned, but it looks like it's going to hit either side of our parcel. So we should be okay with our access. So we feel comfortable that we can make the site work.
Okay, thank you very much. Sure. All right, is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak? All right, we're going to go to the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. So as the applicant said, the idea behind this would be for assisted living nursing home. This hearing is strictly for the rezoning of the property and wouldn't be any hearing for the major commercial site plan that the applicant will still need to do and for the conditional use that they'll need to do for an assisted living facility on this. So you'll still hear a public hearing for that conditional use, and then a major commercial site plan will come in and get into more details on the site plan itself. The rezoning does align with the City of Sunbury 2016 comprehensive plan, as it just said, continue business efforts in this area, looking at commercial and industrial. Pretty broad, but it does align with that. And then, as the applicant said as well, the parcels around it are all industrial or commercial going across 3637 even as well. So it is consistent with that area. And then with that, we would recommend an approval for this to be rezoned to C2 from not zoned, just as it does fit with our comprehensive plan and fits with the zoning uses around it already. Any questions for me?
Any questions for staff? Any questions for the applicant? Any comments related to the rezoning? All right, I'll move to go ahead and close the public hearing. Thank you very much. All right, next item on the agenda, we're back to Meadows at Sunbury Apartment. And let's go ahead and start with the commission discussion related to the fence. It's part of the approving body. Mr. Grumney, were you part of the approving body of this, both in council and zoning commission?
Yeah.
Okay. Mrs. Miller, you were as well, but I think everybody else is new to this. All right. Are there any initial thoughts on this?
I would just like to say, I appreciate the situation because I put myself in that situation. I would be just as concerned as you are. So I appreciate what your concerns are. You know, I think ultimately the goal is, and if I was living in a house that my backyard faced, that would be privacy. You bought that house and that property for a value that you thought you'd enjoy and do enjoy. So, but ultimately, I think, and from my perspective, is if something can be put in place, and I believe the two gentlemen that spoke, if it is a mound and trees that block the light and reduce the sound, or it's a fence and a mound, the ultimate goal is to get to that end result, which is no light coming through into your house and a reduced sound. So whether that's a fence or trees, I do think a mound and trees can do that. But I am also withholding the builder accountable, as was stated, to making sure that that solution is effective and it works and it's maintained. So there needs to be some type of commitment from the builder that this will, because as you mentioned with Pulte and other builders, sometimes you're told something, but then what actually happens doesn't always follow through. So I think as long as we get the commitment from the builder to bring the mound and the trees as said, and to maintain that, then I think that's a reasonable solution to get to the point, which is get rid of the light, reduce the sound.
Thank you, Mr. Gavin.
Yep.
Any other thoughts?
I had a couple. I agree with Mr. Grumney. I did have some other questions. We talked about, there was discussion about a higher mound. If we went higher, how would that deal with the drainage? Because when you go up that high, there's going to be drainage issues and the homes are lower. So I'm not sure higher mound is the direction you want to go from the 3 or 4 foot it is at. I also, I liked the illustrative pictures where they had the different types of evergreen. I would also be interested in hearing, what size they were going to actually plant on that. So it would end up being in the 8 to 10 feet that the original mound and fence was going to be. And then the last question I would have is, why are we even being asked for a change? If there's a legitimate reason for the change, I'm all for it, but just to willy-nilly just come to ask for a change, it's kind of bothers me.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the applicant's not here, so I think we're veering probably towards tabling in this particular meeting, but I want to keep the dialogue going. I think we need the applicant here, especially, to, first of all, digest the comments that they heard from the public, what they are hearing from us. I generally agree with everyone here that, the goal is to minimize light and sound as much as possible. That's why we have an ordinance in place that addresses that through either screening, fences, mounding, or a combination thereof. When I drive out by that site though, this ceiling is 12 foot high. And when you think of like standing on, on the apartment pavement and then looking up at a fence that's, 8 feet high on top of a 4 foot mound, that ends up feeling to me more like a prison wall than it does an ineffective landscape buffer. The reason that I believe the applicant, number one, wants to adjust the plan, they've already bought the fence. They've actually bought the 6 foot fence and the 8 foot fence. So it's not a cost thing, at least not initially, but I think their concern is literally the wind blowing over an 8 foot fence that's on top of a 4 foot mound potentially on top of new shrubbery and landscape buffer. And then you're starting over again. And that's, they're having to, because of the height of the fence, I think the pylons are going something like 10 feet down in the ground. Regardless, I hear the public. I definitely empathize with them, that, anybody who has a backyard that abuts this property and already hearing like it used to be an open field, right? It was always going to be something, but now it's turning into it's apartments and it's pickleball courts and it's going to be somebody else's home. But there's construction traffic and we've got to be able to mitigate that. Really like what Mr. Trowbridge said, we need to, have accountability and, immediately. We need to, if there's going to be a change, we need to have some assurances over time that, what the developer says they're going to do, they are going to do, and that the city has their back in enforcing that. And I built a Pulte home, so I'm on the other side and I'm dealing with the same stuff you're dealing with, in terms of accountability. So I can very much empathize with that. I'd like to still keep the dialogue going if the commission wishes, but I would like to move probably towards tabling. I think it's only fair that we take some time to digest the comments, get the pictures that the Ms. had referenced, and come back next month with the developer and the applicant here to justify their claim. Any other further comment?
The two items you guys covered that were going through my mind was one, why the change? And I think tabling to get that understanding would be very helpful, and also the tree sizes as well. If we end up making a change, that the tree size is not, I know the zoning, I think says what, 6 foot?
And I believe they list, if I'm not mistaken, in that plan that they sent as well. So it was one of the exhibits before the staff report. I can hold it up here, but this drawing at the top, it does show like the heights and the specific types of trees as well. Just so you guys can come back next month and have that knowledge too. But I can, when I reach out to the applicant, I will make sure that they know as well when they bring it. And if they could bring some examples, I'll encourage that as well. And then with
Yeah, the height would be important. I know an 8-foot pine tree gets pretty skinny pretty quickly. So just making sure the appropriate screening is there if we end up going that direction. Right.
I mean, Rockefeller Center, they bring in a pretty big tree every year.
Yeah.
Right, I'm saying a couple of those bad boys, and we're right there. Now, the other comment I would make is, like at the next meeting for our engineering staff and planning staff to weigh in on the rise over run calculation for mound height. I assume I know there's like a 4-to-1 or 3-to-1 rise over run calculation that needs to be upheld, or you're going to end up with like a pretty significant drainage issue. So we'll ask you to take care of that.
Yep, absolutely.
Is it possible to put this on the screen? We have this. Can you put that on the screen? I just wanted to make a couple comments because if we wait a month and we don't, I want to provide feedback now on what I feel about this, so maybe they can adjust this for when they come back.
Yeah, and you're just, this site plan is what you're holding,
Yeah,
right?
the plan that you gave with it defines some of the shrubs and the trees that are gonna go along that fence line.
We got to see.
Good. No,
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
that is it. Yeah. So,
You zoom in a little bit on
the bottom left, maybe, just on some of these. So these, what I see here and what I'm looking from the legend is these are all deciduous trees that are shown on this current plan. These are gonna be naked come winter.
Yeah.
There are, I mean, at the key at the top, it does show some evergreen shrubs and they're kind of a gray colored. I don't see any of them in this plan. There's no gray shaded small circles. So they need a ton of gray shaded circles, which are evergreen shrubs, 6 feet tall, and there's none.
So I think all of those are evergreen trees.
Not according to the legend, they're deciduous trees, ornamental trees.
Yeah, I see that.
Evergreen tree, that's.
Okay, it's got a different diameter.
Yeah, if it's got a jagged edge, it's an evergreen.
Yeah, it's a jagged edge, evergreen.
Just not layered, it's one row of evergreen.
It's
Rest
got a
of the
different edge
deciduous.
on the ornamentals. Which one's ornamentals?
Those trees are very open.
The one that's shaded are shrubs, not trees.
Yeah. See the arborvitaes or anything like that in the south. They grow, 8-10 feet wide with 15 feet high. And I wanted to answer the question about drainage.
Yeah. Can you come up to the microphone? I see you raising your hand. It's making me a little bit antsy because.
My name is Larry Mead, again, 2432 Common Bent Drive. I wanted to answer her question about drainage. They've already put drainage in behind those mounds, which I wasn't expecting and neither did anybody else. So there is drainage on our side of the mound that's right behind my yard.
We're gonna ask our engineering staff to
Okay.
take care of that. Thank you, Mr. Mead. All right. Any other comments, questions? All right, I'll move to table.
Mr. Mayor, actually,
You don't need the table?
You don't need the table. It affords you 60 days of which to take action from tonight's hearing. So if you just want to inform the public that you would be on the agenda at the next meeting, and the commission may take action at that time. You don't need a formal motion to table.
Thank you. All right. For anybody that's here for that particular issue, we'll see you back there next month. Thank you very much for showing up. Thank you for your comment as well. If you have any pictures or
Yes.
anything that you'd like to get to our staff, please connect with our staff before you leave. We'll get you their email addresses.
I'll have them.
For me?
Have you got a later date
Absolutely. Of course.
Where do I bring?
That's kind of what I'm getting at. Can somebody step aside?
Send them to my email. I think you have it, Mr. Mead.
Thank you.
We're gonna move on to the next item on the agenda. The rezoning parcel 41713100700 SA Group LLC. Let's go ahead and open it up to the commission discussion.
I have a question. I gave Alex some questions when you do bring the development plan in. One of the questions that I will ask when you do hopefully bring the development plan is a discussion on how that affects the paramedics with now having 3 different locations. And, you know, if there's got to be time for that to grow or change and everything. So I would like to have a kind of that incorporated in your presentation.
Would you mind coming to the microphone? May as well come on up. We've got a lot of questions for you.
Mhm.
Thanks.
I will get information from my client on their average runs in their buildings. I do know that they are less than most nursing homes, but I don't know the exact number, so I will get that information.
So I'd like to see if they've talked to the paramedics, which is just down the blocks, and how that adds to their runs.
Yeah. Can you make sure that microphone's on? Is there, okay, very quiet. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for the feedback.
I have a lot of questions for you.
Okay.
Why was there no informal presentation given on this? Why are we going straight to a rezoning?
Well, if we cannot get a rezoning,
Yeah.
then my client won't purchase the property and the project won't move forward.
But did you read our code that said, if you want to rezone something, it's highly encouraged to come in and have an informal discussion with the Planning and Zoning Commission?
I did not see that. I did have some
Okay.
conversations with Alex.
Okay, but he's not the Planning and Zoning Commission.
I
He's the
understand
zoning
that.
officer.
I understand that.
Okay, so this, the first time I saw this plan was on Friday at 5 PM. How about you?
Same.
You, okay. This is a big parcel. You're right on a state route. It's 18 acres. The whole thing is woods.
I know.
You're telling, I mean, basically 2 of us are elected up here. You're trying to get us unelected by tearing down, 15 acres worth of trees. Right on State Route 37. I've got a lot of questions about this, primarily the access, 120 units. I know it's not an apartment complex, but it's a nursing home, which is also a conditional use for C2. The single ingress egress point for, I mean, you're going to have EMS runs on there.
Well,
You're getting ready to, you mentioned it, that the Sunbury Parkway is going to almost tee directly into the site. I mean, within traffic signal distance, I mean, 700 feet or less.
correct.
I feel like our job right now is to do less zoning and more planning with this particular parcel. Now, I know, Mr. Newman, did you say you have not closed on this property, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank goodness. And do you have the ability to extend so we can work through some of these issues?
I believe there.
Okay.
I believe that's available.
Good. I think we really got to put like our planning hats on here and work through some of the basic blocking and tackling issues of a site that is this critical to making like our whole transportation network work. When we talk about, yeah, it's a retirement facility, so it's not a ton of traffic, but you're right in the bullseye of what is already like going to be one of the hardest problems we have to solve. And that is the Sunbury Parkway and 3637 coming together to go right on the Cherry Street, right around Hitachi Astemo. Your site's right there. I'd really like to work with you alongside the commission and talk about how can we make this transportation system work? Because I mean, the political side of things, yes, I can talk about trees getting cut down and I can back it up if there's like a long-term solution that we're both like working towards. And really, I'm talking about a north-south connector or something that helps poke another hole in the bucket from 3637 in the future Sunbury Parkway. So I know that's not your totally your problem to solve, but you got to trust me. Like if you want this to work, we've got to maybe like slow the pace a little bit and start over. And I'm not opposed to this use. This is a use that we love in the city.
Sure.
We aspire to be a multi-generational city, and a portion of that is in the golden years of life, right? So, right. Any other comments or questions? Feedback?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So, let's meet offline.
Okay,
and with maybe one or two of the planning and zoning commission members.
sure.
And talk about getting you here potentially next month.
Okay,
All right,
that's fine.
sounds great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. All right, next item is preliminary presentation, major commercial site plan, United Dairy Farmers. Who buys stuff at United Dairy Farmers, by the way? I do.
You buy stuff?
Yeah, a lot. My kids. Yeah.
Situation.
Yeah. The applicant is seeking the commission discussion regarding a demolition and construction of new building and site layout of UDF gas station, corner of Granville and State Route 3. I want to thank you for, hey, there we are. Why don't you come up to the podium, introduce yourself, introduce your project. This is an informal presentation.
I'm John Lucas with K4 Architecture, 555 Guest Street, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45203.
Thank you.
And Kenny Swanson with United Dairy Farmers, 3955 Montgomery Road, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45212.
Good deal. So you guys are employees of UDF? Excellent.
I'm the architect who does all the projects.
Okay, good deal. You're with the real estate side of things?
Construction real estate.
Nice. Excellent. You're a busy man. All right. Why don't you take us through what you're proposing?
So we're proposing to leave the current curb cuts where they're at. And we build a new 6,500 square foot store with 6 dispensers, eliminating the middle dispenser. Currently, they have what they call slide through dispensers. There's one in the middle on that front row. That don't work. That middle dispenser doesn't work. It never gets used because people get trapped there, especially in the middle between the 2 dispensers. So that's part of the reason to redo this. And they want to use the new store that they're going to updated finishes on the outside. The inside's completely different. I don't know if anybody's, there's some newer ones in Columbus that we've done.
Smoky Row.
And Smoky Row. This is basically the same building, Smoky Row, with the exception we've added vegetables in all the stores now. So it extended over a little bit from the Smoky Row store.
No car wash.
No car wash. They actually have eliminated all the car washes.
Good idea. They don't work very often.
They don't have any of them. The ones that are still being used, they actually have somebody else, Carriage House, who's owned now by Tire Discounters. They have taken over that. There's actually one that they still own, and it's not putting there now. I don't know either. But
Is the plan that you would take the entire site offline? I mean,
Yes.
I mean, this is a total shut.
We'll take it off. It'll get demolished. We'll take it all, remove the tanks, new tanks. Yes, it will be completely offline for
6 to 9 months.
9 to 10.
9 to 10 with a full tear down rebuild situation.
Is there any other color, or you want us to just? We're trying to be honest with you. So, like, is it okay if we just start firing some stuff off? I think we've all had a chance to look at the exhibits.
Yeah.
I think Mrs. Miller probably hit. You shot your shot across the bow. I mean, we'd like to keep the access the same. I think we maybe feel differently, but go ahead, Mrs. Miller.
While the access isn't the fantastic best, there's no way to do any better. So I'm well aware of that. One of the things when I saw in the picture is since the front won't face the main road, State Street, you have a picture of it and there's an entrance in there, which I like. I would appreciate some type of, as a customer of going things, I like a sign or a symbol or something. Because when I'm driving and I'm looking for stuff or a place to stay, if I'm not a local, those little things on the side help identify what it is, because there's certain ones that I don't go to because I know they don't clean well enough for me. And I travel all over the world and everything, and so I know which ones I don't go to.
Can you restate that one time, just so I got the notes of what a recommendation is?
Clean.
Okay. All right. Got it.
And that's another thing, is when lighting on the outside, that's something I'm going to pay attention to. Not only as from the neighborhood that's right up next to you, because that's also where I live, but also when I travel how it's lit in the parking lot, because that's another thing I look. I've seen brand new convenience stores that the lighting is so subdued that you can't, any woman won't attend it.
And that was actually one of our conversations with.
There's a delicate balance between lighting for as a customer and lighting as a resident. And so that's something also I'll be looking at.
And we did provide that in the past with full photometric
Mhm.
of the site. So
Very good then.
we actually have a copy of the photometric then. Well, and that's very close to what UDF typical does on the site. But I had a conversation with the company that does all the photometric.
Thank you. I'll rattle off a couple things. What you did, I think you did great on pump layout and building layout. I think it's a huge upgrade, a really nice looking store. I really like the prototype. Just two things. We'll start with the easy one. The trash dumpster right along Route 3. I think you got to move that. Like, that's not a great location. I get you're focused on the operational side of things, but trash dumpster right along Route 3 on the southwest corner doesn't scream beauty to me. Give it some thought about where else you could place it operationally. Just take that in if that's okay. Sure. And then on the access, I'm giving this a lot of thought because I did know you were coming, and I've known for a couple months you were coming. So I've given this a lot of thought. Everything from now's our opportunity to fix this, and we're going to shut off a piece of access to, okay, this is a very significant to you. I mean, going from 3 to 2, that's a huge impact. I just want to play my cards right away, and I'm not the end all be all in this, but I would be willing to acquiesce, reluctantly agree to shift about 50 to 55 feet to and I'm talking about the access point on Granville Street, to directly align with the Ace Hardware access point. So it's about 55 feet off centered right now. And I know you're going to hate it, but right in, right out. I think it's gotta be that. And we can soak this in. That's the benefit of doing preliminary hearings. You can run your models and take it back to your bosses, and they can say, no, go fight them, or they can say, hey, let's be good partners. Whatever you want to do. I wanted to get that out
The
there.
biggest issue with moving it is going to be getting the fuel truck to the tanks. They have to
Agreed.
drop off the passenger side.
I do
If they're
understand.
coming off State Street, them to make a U back, if we push this farther that way, right in, right out, we had discussed it. I think UDF would be, from our conversation, we would probably be willing to do right in, right out. We're gonna have an hour, we'll get a truck in there, as far as the center goes. But to move it back, it's gonna be tough for that truck. That truck can't make that turn, that's our problem.
Right. Understood.
And they can't come through Commerce and they'll never make all the turns with the tanker on. That's the issue we have.
I'm in a good mood. I would just say, like, ask Chat GPT or something. To tell you that.
That's discussed, that's what, they mentioned right in, the only thing I said, you're gonna have to make that so wide with right in, for a truck.
True.
To make it in there. You're better off letting us have at least right in, right out,
Yeah,
and letting it be mountable, because if you do right in, people are still gonna make that left.
I agree with
They're
that.
gonna do it.
I agree with
Even with the signage up there, somebody's gonna take them out, it happens every time we do it. We put them
I
in
agree.
all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, for a pretty significant, project here. I mean, this is a great gas station. Maybe some other people disagree, but I go there all the time, like all the time. I think this is a huge upgrade, but I'll open it up to other folks.
I do think it's a huge upgrade. Now I differ a little bit from the mayor just because of some of my experiences at UDF, but I'll try to leave the personal experiences alone. Only because, well, maybe I'll talk a little bit about. I got my car actually. I guess my question is from the parking, pulling out of parking and where the gas pumps are, is that space, I'm not good at math. Is that space any bigger backing up to the pumps?
Yes, because
Okay.
we try to be 55 feet.
Okay,
Base of the parking space to the bollard is at the dispenser.
yeah,
Otherwise, if you get on to 50 or less, Really tight.
Yeah.
55 is a good source.
What's it at now, if I can ask? Is it? You don't, okay. Because I know I was at the pump closest to the store.
My gut would tell me it is probably around 40 something.
Okay.
And that car parked sideways there.
Yeah, right, and somebody backed right up into me.
They said
Yeah,
that can cause even more.
right, okay. All right, because that can help some of that congestion that builds up right there. So I appreciate that. I had the same comment about you get off of Route 3 and you're taking a immediate right, traffic can kind of back up and you can hit your brakes pretty quickly if someone's turning. So that this is not your guys', but if you want to take this back, because I'm about, and same thing with developers, about the long-term maintenance. So it's going to look really nice and pretty when you guys first put it in, but then over time things start happening. I think with the current UDF, where my frustration lies is the consistency in pump operation, pumps being down, bags being over the pump, not getting receipts because the receipt machine is out. I run into that very frequently when I pull in there. So I'm just hoping that when we get this beautiful new building and new pumps and all that, the tap readers for the credit card, all of that, because I don't believe they're active now. So I know this isn't your guys' necessarily your job, but maybe take that back. That's important to me. Is that it's great when it first comes in, but 5 years from now, I want it to still be great.
Sure, that's something to back up.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate it. It looks wonderful. Mhm.
I know that I'm going to be repeating a little bit of what both of them have said, but sometimes it's important to hear it from more than one person. First of all, I appreciate the changing of the pumps because I've been one of those people stuck in the middle. So thank you for doing that. My biggest concerns are, again, there oftentimes are backups. Certain times of day, it's very hard to get in. Where do you wait to get an available pump? And so I'm even a little bit more concerned looking at this, but I'm not an engineer, so I don't know. And as somebody who serves on Sunbury's Safer Streets for All, this particular area is one of the places that we've talked about quite a bit. So I kind of repeat what the mayor said, right in, right out, or moving it something. Obviously, we have to keep the tankers in mind, but it's just a potential for a dangerous intersection.
Can you pull the building closer to the road and move the tanks?
The problem
To the eastern?
with that is we try and pull the building and the dispensers close to the road. Now we get somebody with a trailer, and now they're blocking the entire back section, can't get by toward the road.
I trust you.
You use with landscape trailer, that's the biggest issue.
Are there more parking spaces than we currently have, or is it about the same?
I would say it's probably more because the building is larger.
Okay.
So we're required to have more in.
And my comments, I think the building itself looks great, great job on that. I had not seen the one on, you said Snoffer, so I have not seen that in person, but Smoky Row.
And
Sorry.
it's not even shown on Google Earth. You have to like Google it and then you'll see a couple images, but if you drive by it, it's really nice.
Yeah, to see that in person, I'm sure would justify a little bit more than just the picture here, but I think a nice job on the building. I also appreciate the landscape. I don't know my plants as well as you do, so I'm not sure what this actually looks like in 3D form, or how big they actually get and what that would end up looking. I was also thinking building and pumps closer to the road, but you guys know that better than me. The other thing, and maybe it's going along the safer streets, but I also use that sidewalk often, and walking through there as well could be dangerous. So I don't know if there's any type of at least markings in the road, or even I like the right in, right out options as well to help make that a little bit safer for pedestrians as well.
All right, everybody's already spoken, so I'll wrap it up. Yeah, I had 10 things on my list and Mrs. Miller and Mayor hit all 10 of them. I love the idea that you're investing your corporation's money in upgrading this. I know there's a financial benefit to you, but there's a beautification aspect to our community. I wish more businesses have the ability to spend their money to upgrade their product rather than just letting it decay into, we don't go there anymore because it's that ugly, I won't say the name of it, station that they don't take care of their stuff. So I think you definitely going in the right direction. This is what we want. I echo the comments about the exit. I hate it. I go through there constantly, and there are constantly people turning left, trying to get into the far lane to go straight or to go right. And I hate it because somebody's waving them in, but I'm trying to in this right lane, and all of a sudden they think they've got the right of way. It's chaos. It's a recipe for disaster, for car accidents, for fatalities, for everything bad to happen. So please look deeply at finding a way to service your station with your truck and maintain the continuity of safety for the hundreds of vehicles that are going to be going in versus the one tanker truck that's going to be coming in. I don't know what the frequency is, but the hundreds of cars that are going to be using that in and out. It can't be overstated that it's terrible. I can't believe, I don't know if we have recorded accident rates for that intersection, but I imagine our police force has probably been there for fender benders. So that's the thing I would like to see the most engineering brain power applied to. So thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Any comments or questions for us? It's been a pleasure to meet with you, gentlemen. Hopefully we see you back soon.
Yes.
You think you can work with our staff and get back next month, or are you thinking to be back in a couple months? Okay. Happy to again meet with you, one or two of us without breaking sunshine laws. Be happy to help triage some of these issues, if you will. Yeah. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
Have a safe trip back. Take care. Thanks. All right, next item on the agenda is on a major site plan review. I've lost my agenda. This is Bell Stores. Come on up, gentlemen.
How you doing, Commission? My name is Jeff Launcher. I'm with CESO representative on behalf of Campbell Oil Bell Stores. We prepared similar to what you just saw for our sites, located at the proposed Kintner Crossing development. Right there, we have a site plan. I'll sort of walk you through it. Ultimately, we have those access drives that are sort of built and proposed by the developer. So we're looking at the northwest corner there. We do have the Bell Stores, which is a convenience store. It's roughly 5,400 square feet. We do have an 8 canopy dispenser out front on the east side there. There'll be 16 fuel positions, one on each side of the 8. At the rear there, we do have a 2-bay car wash, roughly 2,500 square feet. Alongside that, there's 4 vac stalls that are the little V's directly to the right of the car wash bays. Excuse me. We have a dumpster location at the southwest corner there. We have a right in, right out on the eastern proposed drive, and then full access in the southwest corner. In total, we have approximately 39 parking spaces. The fuel tanks are in the northeast corner there. And then the car wash, just to mention, as you can tell by the cars, queues on the north side, pulls through, you'd exit to the south. Part of the elevation that is shown at the bottom part, you'll kind of see it's the main facade imagery is facing north to gear towards the main roads. However, that is where you would enter. Sometimes you might see that on the opposite side where you exit. As far as circulation, on the next page and in the red, there are some truck circulation diagrams. The bottom one being the trash, pretty straightforward. That should be able to come in the right in, right out, or in the full access and essentially pull in, kind of reverse, and then pull through out. As far as fuel, they will need to enter that full access point and circumnavigate the perimeter there. As described previously, they will drop off on the passenger side, so the right-hand side, and then they would circulate the site, kind of go all around the perimeter, and then exit to the full access at the southwest as well. We do have some lighting, photometric plan provided, as well as little preliminary utilities there. and then photometrics is here. There'll be wall packs along the building, while the recessed canopy lights and under the canopy, light poles around the perimeter and interior. And then they do have bollards along the main kind of east and north facade. They're little circles. There are some decorative lighting built into those bollards, and if I think every other space to just light. And then obviously lighting being mentioned. Under the canopy is going to be bright for people purchasing fuel at night along the building as well. Along the perimeter, we obviously try to mitigate those lights and the spill levels so that we're not spilling onto adjacent properties in the roadway. We are limited a bit with this layout, and I know that the layout and the lots has come through previously, and a conditional use was granted by the developer for a fuel station at this location. There is a utility easement for the proposed utility mains as part of the larger development on the south and the east side. It does go up to about the northeast corner near that crosswalk. So we're limited on kind of space on the perimeter just based on where we can place light poles and stuff. So we sort of did our best to make them interior to the site without spilling too much. So there might be some revisions we need to make there, but I think principally, I don't think it's spilling too much. We do the design in-house, and principally, I think most of them are low foot candles or a couple foot candles just along the roadways. One thing I did gloss over is we do have a proposed monument sign at the northwest corner there, that rectangular box. I think the size and location is still sort of a TBD, but that seems to be kind of the best place that it could fit for us. And that'll abide by, the sign code, part of the zoning code. Continuing on, we do have some elevations, some side, front, rear. I think the main thing we can just gloss on here is that side on the bottom there that's with Bell, the Bell Store dog there, that faces east. So the right in, right out in the fuel canopy. So that'll be sort of the main entrance. And then if you scroll down once more, that will be the side facing Cherry, and would be facing north. So those are kind of the two tower features, facing the main roads, if you will.
I mentioned just a couple of things on there, and can you take a look at dressing up? And I just mean like architectural elements, the north side and the south side of that building. So you're going to have that new public roadway on the south side, but really this north side, this is what people are going to see primarily from Cherry Street. And I don't know if that's, I don't know if those are windows up top, those small things, if you want to add some of those, or just, bringing the brick out a couple of inches.
All brick building.
Yeah, which is great. I'm just saying it looks like a big brick wall.
Yeah.
Like there's two big brick walls. You can add, I forget what they're called, but bring a veneer like 3-inch.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I was thinking the same thing on the architecture of this building all around. I don't know if it's more glazing, if it's more architecture with the brick or whatever the case may be, especially the side that's facing Route 3 and around. So
Cherry.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something we can absolutely look into.
Great, thank you.
Those main towers enter into the sales area. So we'll have to check just kind of what's interior, if they can be, full windows or real windows, but we'll definitely take a look at that. There is those lateral, kind of longitudinal ladder, left to right line. Those are some soldier cores, so there is a little bit of breakup, but obviously to your point, it's a blank wall, we'll call it. So we'll take a look at that. And then if you were to just kind of keep panning down. So this is the car walk, kind of similarly, that's facing north. That's where patrons will enter. Obviously the bay doors there. It's brick, same materials. The roofs will match with the color. I think the main tall point roof there has got a red tower roof, and then the rest is black. And then brick throughout there, as you see there, the manual for the equipment room in the center. And then the rear, kind of with the opposite facing south. And then continuing on, this is I know it's a little small, but that's a kind of an aerial rendering of what the site would look like along the bottom there. Kind of a bird's eye view from the north there. And obviously you'd see the brick canopy columns on the canopy, and then the tower features, was the black roof with the car wash at the rear there with the backs up against that building. So I know I ran through a lot there. Happy to answer any questions or obtain some feedback.
I couldn't tell by the design, did the extended or the change in how the turning and in and out, once you got onto that road, was that fixed for the discussion? We had a long discussion. Once you turned onto the road and you came out of how the buses would be lined up, and we wanted, can't remember exactly what it was, because it wasn't my comment. Yeah, it was something about that.
So
I couldn't tell if that was in this design.
So that's not part of, that would be essentially delivered to us. We're not with the developer who's doing the whole development in the roadway system. However, I was at the meeting, I believe that there was concern if there wasn't a designated left turn lane or something. There was buses essentially blocking through traffic.
Okay.
I believe that we can resolve, it's not depicted here, just because we don't, it's a little.
That's not part of yours, okay.
Very back, but I believe that was being looked at for that exact reason.
And then, while I love green grass, and if our grass was actually green, the way it's, but that's kind of why we have landscape, and I don't see any landscape reflected in your preliminary plan.
So we have a schematic on the site plan, with essentially some shrubs and trees sprinkled throughout.
I didn't see that in our packet. Did I miss it?
It's not an elaborate plan, it's more of a schematic depiction.
This one,
So.
Okay,
Second page.
there's not much.
okay. That's probably why I couldn't see it.
So there's essentially shrubs, screening along at the rear of the dumpster enclosure, in the southeast corner, along the north parking there. And then we do have some interior shrubs, and then there are some trees sprinkled throughout, where we can sort of fit them. We're still sort of coordinating what we can and can't put in the utility easements, which really takes away from here all the way to there. So I'm sure we can put shrub in there, and that's honestly pretty much the only thing that can.
Well, there's shrubs, grasses, and
There'll absolutely be grasses. They'll.
not grass, but grasses.
Yeah. So the whole site will be green, obviously,
Yeah.
where there's not pavement. But that's something obviously we can add and look into.
Well, as you can tell from the meeting, that we do pay attention to the landscape and your design. So, when you do bring the vinyl in, we will be paying attention to that.
This is the first development that I think I've seen that has 2 lanes for a car wash, and I'm looking at the schematics, so there's 2 different kinds of car wash available. Is that true?
So it's they're 2 bays. It's essentially you can go.
It says one's soft touch and one's touch free.
Yeah. So it's I was gonna say.
Could you just give me one detail of what that's about?
I'm afraid our roller one just does water.
Just, he gets claustrophobic, so I was giving him space. AP Phillips with Bell Source Cable Oil, 7977 Hillsdale Road, Maslin. Yes, to your question, soft touch would be the bristles that come around and actually touch your vehicle. The touch free is just a bridge that goes across pressure, water that's passing over the vehicle. So you'll be able to have your choice. They'll be labeled as part of our design permit label on which bay does which, but both of them will have the option, same price. You'll have the option when you buy a car wash, whichever one you want to do.
Is this a self-service system, or is this manned by, we have a lot of new car washes around, they got a guy out there, a thing.
This is auto self-service. So you come in at 9 o'clock on Friday night after a football game, you want to buy a wash at the pump, you can go through and get cleaned up. You can do that. With dryers on the end.
It's not a tunnel.
Correct.
Right out there, hold you down, or you go down there. Hold it.
Single station.
You know the UDS gas station when it worked? It's like,
I've been by it, I've never seen it work.
The soft touch. I was soft touch.
No touch. No touch, no water.
They had the roller there. And then, yeah, the touchless is like they have one next to you. Yeah. Water.
Is this a Bell Stores product? That this is a normal thing? Okay, I bring it up because I was looking at the old plans. I don't think the old plans had this, did it? It was a lot different and it takes up a lot of space because it's so wide. And I see you got a great map of your trucks going in and out, which is an issue we already touched on tonight but it's just a curious feature for something that we don't have around here. I just want to make sure I'm clear on what I'm looking at. So it's just single car station. You can have one car on each side. It's not a pass through. Okay, and the trucks can make it around that building. It looked like it was really close.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have one of these in Johnstown?
Yes. We have store, we do not have a car.
Don't have a car wash.
I'll get those.
Oh, okay. Really appreciate you incorporating the sidewalk on the north end. If you were in those meetings, that was a big deal.
Yeah, so.
And your trash dumpster placement could work. Thanks.
Yeah. Not the way I think as much as the candy.
Yeah. Any other comments, questions?
No, I'll second. I noticed the add to the sidewalk. I also noticed the changes to the turning lanes. I don't know. I don't think that was even you anyways. You called out the landscape, for sure needs to be added, and the architecture of the building are the things on my.
Yep. I agree. When can we see you back?
We'll probably start working on full development plans later this week.
Awesome. So maybe we'll see you in
2 months.
2 months. Cool. Sounds good. Thanks. See you then. Take care. Thank you very much. All right, next item on the agenda, found my agenda, by the way. Need to update. Any visitors that would like to speak with the Planning and Zoning Commission? Mr. Shrim, can I call you up to the microphone just for a second? I think it's important. You may see Mr. Shrim. No, not at all. No, but thanks for showing up here. It means a lot. Mr. Shrim controls a large piece of property south of the Outlet Mall, south of the Champion Apartments. It's about 7,500.
Yes, 63 acres left. About was 100 to begin with. It's everything from I-71 to South Galena Road. Immediately bounded on the north by the Tanger Outlet Mall. And for all intents and purposes, the new Sunbury Parkway runs along our south property line.
The long rectangle, long from east to west, and very, very important property. You may know we incorporated the Sunbury Parkway District Plan as part of our master plan. As real world, becomes real, and like the interchange manifests itself through a lot of hard work and planning. There's going to start to become discussions with users, and Mr. Shrim's obviously, a controlling party in that. I think at some point he would like to take, some of our members out to the site. I've actually driven it before any construction was out there, just Mr. Shrim and myself. I think it's really important that you gain the perspective and scale. I think some of our staff have driven out there as well. So I may help with staff facilitate, introductions with Mr. Shrim and his team where we can actually go and visit with that again without breaking sunshine laws.
Mayor, would you like me to give a brief kind of overview about where we are?
Yes,
ad hoc.
Please.
If you all have time.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me up. I did not plan or prepare any remarks, but I'm Jim Shrim. I'm with Wills Creek, and my partners in real estate are Klingbeil Capital Management. We've had a 50-year, 60-year development presence in Central Ohio and across the United States. Some of you are new to me. Some of you I've met before when we developed the single family lots on the west side of 71 recently at, that was Eagle Creek, which is the north phase of the two-phase kind of Pulte project, was the old Rogers family farm. Fast forward to today, we worked collectively with lots of stakeholders to help make the interchange real, which was great. And now we've had some success. I'll just say this, it's not, we'll release it to the public, but you can find out by public record. We have sold our western 30 acres to 27 acres to Ohio Health. So that they intend or are planning a very large medical campus there, which I think has, they have not shared employment numbers with me, but generally those campuses generate somewhere between 800 and 1,800 jobs. So we think that's going to be a real game changer for Sunbury at this kind of hallmark interchange. We're now, right now building a regional detention basin, which the mayor was really instrumental in facilitating. And that's one of MORPC's goals, is to consolidate and have regional detention. And so the city helped us facilitate a real win-win agreement with ODOT, where they acquired right away from us. We consolidated all of our stormwater detention for Ohio Health for the new phase A of the interchange, and our first phase of our second phase is 30 acres in the middle. So if you think about our site west along the freeway between the new Wilson Road and 71, that's the 27 acres for the new Ohio Health campus. Then there's Wilson Road to Galena, which is 2/3 of the property. You cut that piece in half, that's the middle piece. So we're able to aggregate all that stormwater, and in the process then take the fill that came out of that regional detention basin and sell it back to the interchange. And actually we're able to facilitate the low bidder on the interchange being, I think, $1 million below everybody else, because they were able to acquire the fill so efficiently. So we really worked collaboratively with Daryl and Carla and the county and ODOT. It was a challenging process, a lot of stakeholders, but it's been, at the end of the day, I think the desired result is going to be transformative. Over the next week, we've just entered into an agreement, a letter of intent, not yet a contract, with a major user for 18 acres. And so if we get into contract on that, we'll be before you with that user and following your process. We are not focused on multifamily housing. We know there's lots and lots of multifamily housing. We know there's political pressure about not having multifamily housing. Those metrics don't work for us. That doesn't mean that down in the future, 5 to 10 years at the eastern end, we may not consider, requesting some multifamily, but right now the supply economics are out of balance, and we feel like the overall regional community is meeting that need. We are also entertaining the idea of building a second borrow pit for the interchange, which would then create a pond and lake. And so we've had some very preliminary discussions about maybe some of the eastern portion of our property that might be served in the future by a lift station, that we may just decide not to develop that or some of it and contribute it to parks. There's a desire to create more of a green corridor, I think, from where Sunbury Parkway will intersect Galena Road in the future, and having, kind of a meandering green space. We have a lot of places in Delaware County, we have these massive overhead power lines, and we have big gas transmission and petroleum transmission lines through there. Those spaces can't be developed. So as we work through the master plan with Edge and Daryl and the mayor, we've tried to take those spaces and allocate them either for regional detention or green space and green corridor. They can then be connected beyond our site, well beyond the four corners of our property. So in the next few months, we are really ramping up. Matter of fact, we're actively working on some draft PUD text to share with the city at the appropriate time and in the appropriate process, and begin really kind of the next big phase of development discussions with the city. And it is it's a large piece of property. And when you couple the property to our south, which is 150 acres, I felt that it would be helpful, and the mayor felt that it would be helpful for actually to go and see it. And so we'd welcome that. Obviously, we need to adhere to the sunshine laws. So those are our plans. May I answer any questions that anybody may have? I know it's the last minute unprepared remarks, but
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for the background as well. And, yeah, I didn't ask Mr. Shrim to present anything, but it's a good opportunity to.
Because I'm on the code.
Yes, ma'am.
By clicking on, there's Alyssa, that one, and then that's the Ohio Health piece, and then
Right, I've seen about Ohio Health, but I'm on the subcommittee of the commission that's working on our code.
Yes, ma'am.
And we talked about those parcels quite often this afternoon, didn't we, Daryl? And so.
Well, good. We look forward to working with you. We're excited to have Edge on board. We think for Dennis and Edge, for Dennis representing the city and Edge did a lot of the heavy lifting behind the master planning with MS. They were a sub-consultant. And so we're looking forward to integrating those two pieces together. You know, we have a little bit of a challenge, which we've talked about before loosely, which is transitioning from the township, which really doesn't have any architectural standards, further south. And so we look forward to working on that collaboratively as we transition. We also are real focused, and we've heard the city loudly and clearly, and we're big supporters of it, is defining that gateway district as you transition south, where the pavement ends now is the end of the township in the beginning of this new gateway district, which is really your front door. You know, and there's a front door coming south on Wilson Road, and there's a front door coming, you know, west to east, where Phase A currently ends. And so I've instructed Edge to give us some vignettes, starting places of entry features, you know, demarcation, something that creates what we call a happening that's meaningful and, you know, really sets an architectural differential from when you enter this quarter when you were on the old 36-37 quarter, which was just a eclectic hodgepodge of bolt-on uses over the years. So I hope that's helpful.
I'd just like to say thank you for this briefing, and also thanks for being such a good partner with Sunbury and really being an advocate of what we're trying to do, because it's clear that you understand Sunbury's mission, kind of what we're trying to do, and it's just great to have someone in the developer role and to understand what we're trying to do and doing it so collaboratively. So thank you.
Well, thanks. Want to be a good partner. Sometimes I have a short temper. I apologize. Whatever. You know, they say you can always tell a German, but you can't tell it much. We really enjoy working with you and your team that you've assembled, and looking forward to grow with you.
Great.
I also, by the way, I should mention this, advise the Dye family while I'm here for disclosure, which is the next piece of Sunbury Parkway from Galena.
I click on that, Alyssa.
To Cherry.
In the middle. Down one. Right there.
Yeah, right here. Actually, I have an office in Lou Dye's old polo barn. This was an old polo arena. Lou was a character. Some of you may have known him. Lou and Jerry are family friends. They were friends with the Arnolds, who live up here a bit. We opened an office here. I'm here like 3 days a week, just for planning on this phase of the project and some other things we have up here east of here. But Sunbury Parkway will come here through the Dye's property. Right now, the proposed alignment is that it would arc east southeast, run just north of Mrs. Dye's home, the barn, the polo arena, come east, and then come just north of Darren Carson's property through, I believe this is
Walkers.
who's the realtor here in town?
Carpenter.
Foreman.
Oh,
I think this is Foreman's. Then we come across Foreman's, but we're not sure of the exact alignment. I don't think Daryl is finalized by ODOT, but the alignment will be somewhere in here. And there's been a lot of environmental study. I think maybe some recent geotechnical stuff, but trying to figure out what's the most cost effective and least environmentally impactful way across the Little Walnut Creek. Is that correct, Daryl?
Yep.
Right. Great. So you'll be seeing a lot of me. And thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Shrim.
Thank you.
All right, any other visitors that would like to speak with the Planning and Zoning Commission? All right, next item is the approval of the minutes from August 25th. Looking for a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mrs. Crawford. Discussion.
Second.
Good. Yeah, sorry. Second by Mrs. Miller. Skip that. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mayor St. John?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
Mr. Soderman?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
6 yeas, motion approved.
Right, next item is the zoning report.
Thank you, Mayor. As Ms. Miller said, we did have our second meeting on the zoning code update today, so we're actively working through that. We did implement a new public notice design and signs. If you guys went out to any of the sites this month, you saw a big old letter on the corner of the signs that relates to the public notices in the packet. Just trying to make it more uniform and more clear, so when you see that, you kind of know what it is and have a little idea. The previous way was just 18-point font on a printed sign, which didn't really work. So hopefully QR code with that letter is easily or more easily identifiable and gets you a little better idea without having to stop, pull over and look at it. And then as Mr. Shrim mentioned, we are getting a lot more calls about west development, specifically in the area, near the area out there. Some general feelers and then some just ideas of when utilities will get out there, what's in the city, what's not in the city, what can be developed there, and what's our plan for it going forward. Off of that, we did have 10 zoning certificates this month, 7 of which were new builds, and then 19 occupancy permits. Puts us a little lower than last year, is typical this year, but still good pace for what we're having. We're up to 96 total, and with that, no more subdivisions were completed, but 54% for Price Pond, so we're over the halfway point on that one now. But any questions on any of these numbers or zoning in general?
Kinder Crossing, how far are they away from? They're doing heavy infrastructure, but how far away are they from like selling their first lot?
They have reached out about final plat. I believe the intention is to bring final plat next month for their first phases. They reached out late last week, so I still have to confirm that with them, and they still have to submit materials, but I believe their intention is final plat coming at that point.
Thank you. All right, any questions for Alex? All right, next meeting. Over yours. Thank you. All right. Discussion again. Yep, lost it. Discussion, new business. Mr. Long?
Nope.
Mr. Grumney? Nope. Mrs. Miller? Mr. Crawford? Mr. Stoddard?
One thing, you made a couple comments earlier that reminded me of something I wanted to bring up in the last few meetings I never did. When I was invited, or I guess initially to apply for the Planning and Zoning Commission, I really didn't know what to expect, but now that I've been doing it for about a year, I guess I've got some thoughts about my involvement and my impact. And I guess I didn't realize that I was only going to be asked to participate 2 to 3 hours a month. You made a comment tonight, Mr. Mayor, about I think we got the packet at 5 p.m. on Friday. That was not enough time to go through this.
That was hard.
And I know we've asked before to get it sooner, and I don't know what the restrictions are on providing that, but I'd like to be prepared and I want to be a valuable contributor. But I felt at least once tonight, I was corrected by something that I just hadn't seen yet. I hadn't gotten an opportunity to thoroughly see the outline of those trees, that those were in fact evergreens. It's an important point. I expected to be more involved from a time basis. I know a couple of you are involved in a lot of community meetings already and probably are not looking to add any time to your agenda each month, but I am. I guess what I'm trying to get at is if there was another way where we could have a more discussion-based meeting. I feel like we're coming into this meeting trying to give judgments on what we think when we really haven't had an opportunity to discuss. You know, how does this apply? What is your thoughts? What is your feedback before I have to give it to an applicant and say, well, I got into my silo, I read everything, and this is my feelings, but oh, wait a minute, she just brought up a good point that I hadn't thought about yet. And now I got to go look and try to research it in the meeting. I don't think that's a good way for planning and zoning to make thoughtful decisions on how to improve our community going forward. So I'm not proposing anything other than I'd like to be more involved on a 4, 5, 6 hour per month basis to have, if I don't know what the ability is of this commission to meet outside of the meeting as more of a discussion based hour where we can say, hey, you know, we're going to be talking about this month, you know, here's a chance to review it. Here's some things that are coming up and get some feedback from the people who have experience so that we can be more prepared when we come to the meeting with just the finer points that we want to get rather than just firing off rapid fire questions. Hopefully this is making sense that you're making very valid points on a lot of things. And I'm listening and taking notes, but I know you're more involved on a daily basis, and I don't feel that I am. I'd like to be. And I don't know if any of the other commission members feel the same way, but you know, I was anticipating more involvement. And I feel like we're just scratching the surface of having some people who just want to give a quick yes, no. So
I understand exactly what you're saying. And I felt like that before as well.
Yeah.
So I give it some thought. Yeah, I mean, does anybody else want to weigh in on that?
I agree, and I know you even requested a few months ago that we receive our packets prior to Friday, and I know that you worked hard at doing that. But sometimes it's a lot of information, and I too feel like you guys have more experience and you catch things that maybe we don't, because I feel crunched to kind of review all of it and question, am I missing something? What am I not understanding? Yeah, I'd like a little more time.
Yeah, and I did say I would get it out earlier, so that is on me. It is also available online on the OneDrive. As soon as I get the documents, I do upload them immediately to that, so you have access to them a little earlier. But I will try, I've marked it now, a week in advance is what I'll aim for from here on out. And then if we feel that's not enough time going forward at that point, we can readjust. But yeah, all the documents are uploaded. Once they're turned in by the applicant, and I've looked them over, they go right into the OneDrive. So they are there a little earlier and you're able to zoom in and get a little further detail, but
I'm old school. I like paper. Sorry.
no worries.
can we go back real quick? The sunshine laws have come up a couple of times in tonight's discussion.
Yep.
And Vic, would you mind reiterating the limitations that we're restricted to? We can't have 3 unless we have 6.
You have to have a public notice of a meeting, even if it's a work session where you're not like kind of, I'm hearing that in what you're
Yeah.
describing, like you're gonna meet together. We could have a meeting even if it's not planning on taking any action, but it would still need to be public noticed as long as there's a quorum present, you know.
So 4 is a quorum. So I mean, technically, we could meet with 3 people. That seems strange because it's 50%, but it's not a majority. It's not a quorum. 3 people could meet. Is that correct?
I think that's right. Let me,
You're gonna research that.
yeah, let me double check that.
Rules, because even if you're 3, it depends on what else is going on and how you're meeting.
True. Like, hey, let's come up with a strategy on how to get this
Because
passed.
then
Like, yeah.
is one of you of the 3.
That was a hypothetical
meet with-
situation for anybody listening.
That's. I forget what word it is,
I
but
can't intentionally try to circumvent it by
Yes.
playing the phone tag game where you're going around, we weren't all together, but we did, yes. So, you know, correct. There are issues. So I can definitely look into that and get you a specific type of framework about how that might look.
Be good.
And do that.
Yeah, because I mean, a couple of things. I mean, tactically, and Jason, you're offering up your services, all right? And like, even if it's like advancing the ball for the rest of us, maybe working with Alex to, how can you get the information out sooner? You know, there's the other, at a very high level for me, I've always looked at this role as planning and zoning, and they are different. I mean, zoning to me seems a little bit reactive, like we're reacting to somebody wanting to change something about their zoning, which is like a prerequisite to them being able to develop something. But I've always felt like the planning, we used to do more planning in the Planning and Zoning Commission. And when I say used to, I mean like many years ago, but let's say pre-pandemic, where we would have these work sessions that, you know, we want to talk about a planned commercial district or something with somebody like a Mr. Shrimp. I mean, on the fly, but it wasn't like we were hearing an issue at the same time. It was kind of like a special work session on public record. I mean, it was like you had 2 meetings that month instead of just 1. And one was really focused on like deep dive into a topic. And then, you know, the normal meeting was hearing issues related to zoning. So I'm not suggesting that's exactly what we do, but I hear what you're saying. And I think there is a gap that we need to solve for, because it does feel, I feel what you're feeling right now. And I am entrenched in this.
well, and part of mine is my career was in city government, so while I might not have been on planning zonings, I've had to unfortunately sit through so much that I absorbed.
Right. Osmosis.
Yes. But using what we talked about last month while you were gone, the presentations from the interns, that might be a good kickoff to some work sessions that might help us all be more planning, because we were talking about parking and what was the other one?
Fees.
Fees. And, you know, we all had all these other questions about both of them and in long term, and those might be where we get into, you know, once a quarter, having a work session to talk about some of those things to go further, that the interns come up with some great information, but we don't have time to go any further.
Yeah, you're right. I know we're gonna bring this up again, so I don't have the answer right now. I know you weren't asking me, but I feel it too. Does anybody else want to weigh in or any thoughts on how to solve for this?
I understand the position. Sure, yeah. I mean, you come in here and you feel like you're voting on things and it being on council is a little bit of an advantage. You do hear about some of this stuff, you know, in discussion, but yeah, I can see the difficulty.
All right, so we'll kick it around a little bit, talk about it next month. Sure. All right, sounds good. Thanks. All right, next item is next meeting, and that is October 27th, 2025. Any other items to discuss? I'll make a motion to adjourn. Second by Mrs. Miller. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Soderman?
Yes.
Mrs. Cropper?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.